Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa. And on this hashtag Transformation Tuesday, we have the masters in the house, true pioneers in beauty and wellness, the co-founders of Squeeze, Alli, Webb, and Brittany Driscoll. Thank you so much for being with us today, by the way.
Thanks for having us.
And congratulations on Squeeze. So we mentioned a little bit at the top of the show, but explain the concept and what really inspired you to transform this industry.
Well, you know, with Dry Bar, it was about making women feel good and look good through a great blowout. And with Squeeze, it's a very similar, it's so similar in a lot of ways because we're making people feel good from the inside out as opposed to Dry Bar for the outside in. And so we, you know, my brother, Michael Landau, who's my co-founder of Dry Bar, we always, since we were little kids, have gotten massages, but just there wasn't a great place. Just like with Dry Bar, there wasn't a great place to get a blowout. There wasn't a great place to get a massage, which is why we went to Brittany, who used to run marketing for Dry Bar, and begged her to come and start this concept with us. And she's now the CEO, and she's amazing and doing such a great job. And we're really excited. It's a really beautiful, different concept than has ever been done in the massage space. So
tell us
very
what
proud.
that is. What makes you guys stick out from other massage places?
So very similarly to Dry Bar, as Alli was saying, on one end of the spectrum, you've got the low-end discount chains that offer, an affordable price point, but
the Korean foot spa.
Exactly.
Yes.
Not a great experience. And then yeah, exactly. And then on the other end, you've got the high-end discount chains, which are offering a great experience, but totally unattainable for that regular, affordable massage. And so with Squeeze, what we've done is we've used all the same brainchilds behind Dry Bar. We use the same architect, the same branding team, in creating a beautiful space. But with our technology is really like the biggest thing that makes us different. And so what it allows you to do is book, set all your personalized preferences online, everything from areas of the body you want focused on, what you want avoided, if you want oil or lotion, do you want your bed heated? All of that information is saved to your profile, so your therapist is reviewing it prior to you even walking in. We're avoiding a lot of the awkward in-person exchanges. And then when you're done, you literally flow out like Uber and Postmates right into on your phone. So it's a very seamless experience.
That's huge. There's nothing more awkward than the checkout when they're like waiting with the water bottle for you.
And you have like your face is all smushed, and like the last thing you want to do is like stand in line and talk to people. You're like, I just want to go. So this cashless concept is, we think is like, and the reaction to it has been amazing. People are loving it of all ages. So it's been really exciting to watch.
So is there going to be a membership again?
It is. It's a membership based, but you can come. You can come for a pay per squeeze, is what we call. So one time.
I'm all about
experience.
A pay per squeeze.
If you want.
Just kidding.
This could go on a very different
No, but our two membership programs, we've got our mid squeeze, which is a 50-minute a month, and our main squeeze, which is an 80-minute.
I mean, the name is brilliant. Come on.
Thank you. Yes.
Clearly, though, you are marketing geniuses. That was really good credits to the success of Dry Bar, and you can really implement that same genius into this concept. But where do you get this inspiration? I mean, it is so unique.
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things and people kind of putting their heads together. And with Dry Bar, getting the concept off the ground was a lot of us, between my brother and all of the team, figuring out what the things that we wanted. For me, I wanted Dry Bar to feel like place that women could go that felt very like high end and luxurious, but you weren't, paying that price. And the branding kind of, I always felt like gets people in the door. And we all concepted this. I think it was my brother's idea to have iPhone chargers at every station. And so, I think it's also like a great tip if you are out there and you're thinking about starting a business is getting those great people in a room together and figuring out what you want and all the things that you can think of that make an experience great, which is exactly what we've done with Squeeze. Is like collectively all put our heads together and thought like, we all kind of come up with different ideas. We need this and we need that, and I like this and I like that, and so you put all that together and you can create something pretty magical.
Any tips and tricks around how to find or discover that team, and then how to get them on the same page?
Well, I feel like we were lucky enough to find Brittany. I mean, Brittany found us. Really, she was a fan of Dry Bar and was a client and came to see us because she loved it so much. And for us, we've always felt like, for me especially, like I don't really care what your resume says. For me, it's more about what your level of passion and excitement about the brand, which of course Brittany had. So I think it's finding those people who are like diehard passionate about what you're doing versus it just being a job, or it's really about that energy and excitement that you bring, because especially in startup mode, like nobody's making any money. You know, you really have to you really are grinding it out for a while, and you can't be doing it for the money. You have to be doing it for the love of whatever it is.
So speaking of, I have a business question. So as a woman, I've been an entrepreneur for many years and thinking about, raising capital, something I've never done. And I think it's just not common language for majority of female entrepreneurs. What's that been like? Did you guys raise capital? How was that? What advice would you give to people out there?
We did raise a little bit for Squeeze. I think the biggest thing is to make sure that you take some time to research, know exactly what you're asking for, where you feel like the valuation of the company could be. Put together a great pitch deck. I mean, that is one of the things from a marketing and branding standpoint that I think that we've done very well at along the way in various stages of both Dry Bar and Squeeze, is really putting together a great story. And then partner with people who can help you where you don't necessarily know everything. I think that Michael has been a great partner to both of us in capital raising, and then also just having real conversations with people. I think for me, I flew up to San Francisco to have a conversation with one of our investors, our lead investor, and it was super scary because I had never done it before. There was a lot of terms that I didn't know, but I took the time to research a little bit, and then also was transparent in kind of where I was at with him too. So it was like a genuine
Any
conversation.
resources specifically of learning how to raise capital that you guys have used?
Well, I think also, and this is something I learned along the way, which really I think it's kind of a joke with my brother, because I always just kind of thought he just knew this stuff, but he had to learn it along the way too. And we brought on an investment banker, and it's easy to find investment bankers, and finding the right one is more challenging. In our case, it was this woman. It was a woman, which we loved, and because she really understood our business, but she kind of helped inform us on the right investors to go after for private equity and venture capital and all of that. And so she knew who to go to and how to narrow that down. So because it's massive. I mean, there's a million different private equity firms out there, but Janica, is her name, she really helped us kind of hone in on the ones that would make the most sense for us, and then we went out, and that's where things like a pitch deck come into play, where you're talking to, in our case, a room full of men in suits who are think I'm the craziest person they ever met, and what the hell is a blow dry bar? That was fun. But I learned, like Brittany said too, I learned a lot of terms along the way, and I think there is a lot of different avenues you can get. There's a lot of different women out there. I know Tory Burch has a foundation for raising money, and there's a lot of different women. I know there's a lot of women who are starting their own funds right now to help other women. There are a lot of resources out there for women. You just have to really do the research, and you just have to kind of start looking online, and you will be surprised how many options are out there.
I love that you didn't necessarily know the language of the business, but you still pioneered anyway. So tell us about kind of where that courage came from, or where you took that leap of faith from.
Yeah, I feel like, for me, it was so much about, I didn't want to look back and regret having not done something. So it was just about taking the risk and going for it. I'm such a believer in that. I think that we're all scared. I think we can make it look good on social media or just generally, but there's always that pit in your stomach before you do anything big, and especially something that you've never done before. But I think it's worth going for it. I mean, you would so much rather have
So
tried.
The money comes in, you've got the investors. Now what? What's the hardest part of all of it?
Not messing it up.
No, the
A lot of pressure when there's a lot of money at stake. But it really is true. I mean, that you really you have to just work really hard and be open to feedback. And I know Brittany's been really great about this, because we have sent in so much friends and family to Squeeze kind of before we open, and they are all Brittany asked me a million questions and then she wouldn't leave me alone. But I mean, that's how we learn, and we do the same thing with Dry Bar. After you come in for a blowout, we ask you to tell us what you thought, and that is a great way to make sure you're getting the experience right. And I have found with many people who own their own businesses, and you can kind of see it if you look at Yelp and with the way owners will respond to things in this way that's no, we didn't do that. And there's defensive way where if you are really getting the feedback from your clients, from your employees, you're really listening to them and kind of getting in all this feedback and knowing, of course we're going to make mistakes. Of course we're going to do things that don't feel right, and we got to fix them. And so being able to move and be nimble in the moment, I think is incredibly important.
The pivoting is everything, isn't it?
It is.
In terms of the marketing and advertising, is there anything that you discovered along the way that you were surprised to discover?
I don't know if
Good question.
surprised, but I will say there. So Seth Godin is an amazing marketer. He has several books that are incredibly inspiring. And there's this one quote that has stuck with me throughout this whole process, and it is, "People don't buy services and products; they buy relations, stories, and magic." And it is so true. I mean, I think especially in building Squeeze, on the following Dry Bar, it's like, if you build a great brand, if you build a great experience, if you're creating a tone and a voice and a look that people, aspire to, but also can connect to, I just think, that's where the power is. That really is the magic. And then of course the people. I mean, we've been so fortunate to have hired such an amazing team out the gate, and people who believe in the culture and believe in our mission. And I think that's the other thing, is having a big vision, even though you're starting small.
What have you learned from each other in this business?
Well, so much. I mean, Alli and her brother Michael have been an incredible inspiration to me. I've known them now for going on 6 years, and I think that they started in an entrepreneurial home. They watched their parents build their own business, and so they just have this innate desire to create a great experience and deliver amazing customer service. So, for me, I've really taken that to heart in building Squeeze, and
hence Raise the Bar, your podcast that comes out every Friday?
That's right. Yes, every Friday, new episodes. We just launched our second season, so we're back in it.
And tell us a little bit about that.
So it's basically, because my brother and I have been asked, because we've built this big business, we've started this new business, and people just want to know how we've done it, and the ups and downs. And so we have always felt this kind of desire to give back to other entrepreneurs, but there's not enough time in the day to, answer all the questions that we're constantly getting. So we felt like a podcast was a great kind of place to answer and talk about our experience with growing Dry Bar, and then bringing on other entrepreneurs, big and small, some that you've heard of, like Sarah Michelle Gellar, and people who are, have huge platforms, but then people that you've never heard of, and who are in the throes of launching a business, and who, don't know how to raise money, and have all these questions, and we're answering that stuff live. And my brother and I have a very funny kind of just banter, because we are brother and sister, and so that is a lot of fun. We just have a really good time, and it's funny how we will tell a story of something that happened 10 years ago. We're approaching 10 years of Dry Bar, and it's like things that we just forgot about, because we're so far away from the early days. So it's really fun to go back and think about all the stuff that we experienced.
Were there any personal, professional, best practices that were shared by guests with you guys on the podcast that you kind of remember?
Gosh, yeah. I feel like I learned something new all the time. Nothing is coming to mind.
That's why we listen to the podcast. That's the point of
Just
this.
go listen to the podcast.
Yes.
But I always pick up on things. Actually, one thing, a good friend who was on our podcast, Ellen Bennett, who has, she's the apron queen. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with her, but she's amazing. And she was talking about how she had hired a coach, like a professional coach, because she's the CEO, and was kind of walking us through all the things that this coach was helping her do. And my brother's looking at me like, maybe you should get that. I know. Because when you've never run your own business, and you're all of a sudden at the helm of this company, and everyone's coming to you and looking to you for answers, it is overwhelming and daunting. And you as the CEO, you have to just have an answer. I mean, of course you want to talk about things and get other people's perspective, but sometimes the buck stops with you, and getting comfortable in that role, it was really challenging for me, and I could have probably used a coach, but
it's a good point.
past that.
Yeah. And it's tough sometimes when you are when you are the frame. It's hard to see the picture.
Yeah,
right? You have someone that can step back and
That's a good one.
look at the situation and be able to, say some things that you can't see.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of the frame, we've got a special surprise for Alli. Thank you, ladies, so
thank you.
much. And congratulations again on Squeeze. Tell everyone where they can come and get their Squeeze.
Yes, so we're located at 12338 Ventura Boulevard in Studio City, right across from Granville.
Wow.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more on Good Morning La La Land.